Babylons can't crack the code.
Every day we get closer and closer to the 2023 XFL season. These past few weeks, I've made a few XFL videos talking about the quarterbacks and the running backs in the league. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about the XFL drafted wide receivers, and obviously there's a ton of receivers that are in this league. So for the sake of time, I'm going to be talking about 10 receivers that I feel like you need to know about before the start of the 2023 XFL season. To break it down, I'll be naming at least one receiver from every XFL team, and some teams may even have a couple receivers. Now before I move on, remember to smash that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. Now let's get into it. The first team I'm going to be talking about is the Renegades, and the receiver I'm going to be talking about on their team is Luwan Winningham. He played his college football career at Central Arkansas, and for UCA, he was a standout. 34 games played, he had 123 career receptions for 1,879 yards, 23 total touchdowns through the air, averaging 15.3 yards per reception. He went undrafted in 2022, but would get an opportunity with Jacksonville. However, he did not make the final roster. The other receivers drafted by the Renegades include Brandon Arconado, Ja'Cory Sullivan, Jackson Anthrop, and Jordan Smallwood. On to the defenders. The receiver I'm going to be talking about for them is KD Cannon. KD Cannon played his college ball at Baylor, where from 2014 to 2016, he had 195 career receptions for 3,113 yards, averaging 16 yards a reception and 27 total touchdowns through the air. Despite a good college football career in the 2017 NFL Draft, KD Cannon went undrafted. In his pro football career, he would play for a variety of NFL teams, including the 49ers, New York Jets, LA Rams, Dallas Cowboys, and would even spend time in the CFL with the Saskatchewan Roughriders, and even played in the previous XFL with the LA Wildcats and Seattle Dragons. Other receivers on the team include Jaquez Ezzard, Jazz Ferguson, Josh Hammond, and Lucky Johnson. Next up, with the Houston Roughnecks, the receiver I'm going to be focusing on their team is Cedric Byrd. Cedric Byrd started his college football career on the JUCO ranks at Long Beach City College before transferring to Hawaii. He played at Hawaii for a total of 2 seasons where he was a standout, including in his senior season where he was an all-conference first-team member. Now let's talk about the stats he had over his career. As a member of Hawaii's football team, he played in a total of 29 games, recorded 177 receptions for 2,067 yards, and 19 touchdowns through the air. In his senior year, he played in 15 games, recorded 98 receptions for 1,097 yards and 10 touchdowns through the air. Overall, the guy had 2 strong seasons as a member of Hawaii's football team. Despite a strong career at Hawaii, he went undrafted in the 2020 NFL Draft, and in regards to a big pro football opportunity, this is his first big pro football opportunity. And other receivers on the Roughnecks include Deontay Burnett, Justin Smith, Jontre Kirkland, Aaron Nelson, Darius Robertson, and BJ Byrd. On to the Guardians, I'm going to be talking about Charleston Rambo. Rambo got his start in college with the Oklahoma Sooners, where he appeared in 28 games, and he played pretty well. 76 receptions for 1,180 yards, averaging 15 yards a reception and 9 touchdowns through the air. He transferred to Miami in 2021. In his one lone season at Miami, he had a career year. He had 1,172 receiving yards, averaging 15 yards a reception, 7 touchdowns through the air in 12 games played. He was even a second-team All-ACC member. Despite a strong season, he went undrafted in 2022, spent some time with the Panthers, but would not make the final roster. Other receivers for the Guardians include Andrew Jamel, Stephen Guidry, Octavius Miles, Dontez Byrd, Patrick Smith, Dooley Aristide, and Cody Lattimore. Moving on to the San Antonio Brahmas, I'm going to be talking about 2 receivers from their team. The first one being former Texas Tech receiver TJ Vasher. TJ Vasher spent his time as a Red Raider as a big-time deep ball threat at 6'6", 215 pounds. He had 146 receptions for 1,983 career yards, averaging nearly 14 yards a reception and 21 touchdowns through the air. In the 2021 NFL Draft, he went undrafted and would sign with the Dallas Cowboys, where unfortunately he went down with injury during the preseason and was ultimately waived. The other player I want to talk about on San Antonio is Jalen Tolliver. Tolliver played for Arkansas Monticello, where in his career he played in 42 games, had 192 receptions for 3,168 yards, and 39 total touchdowns through the air. In the 2018 draft, Tolliver went undrafted, but he would end up signing with the Arizona Cardinals. In regards to his pro football career, he has played in the NFL, XFL, and CFL. In the NFL, he has 3 receptions for 37 yards with the Arizona Cardinals. He spent some time with the Titans and Chiefs as well. He played for the Tampa Bay Vipers in 2020 in the XFL, and most recently has played in the CFL with the Edmonton Elks, where he has 29 receptions for 383 yards and 4 receiving touchdowns. The other receivers for San Antonio include Kendrick Rogers, Terry Wright, and Travis Johnson. With this next team in the St. Louis Battlehawks, I'm also going to be talking about 2 receivers on their team. The first one being former Oklahoma State standout Marcell Ateman. Marcell Ateman, as a Cowboy at Oklahoma State, would have 146 receptions for 2,466 yards, averaging nearly 17 yards a reception and 13 total touchdowns through the air. Marcell Ateman would end up being drafted in the 2018 draft in the 7th round by the Oakland Raiders. Ateman would spend a few seasons with the Oakland/Las Vegas Raiders, where he would end up recording 20 receptions for 270 yards and 1 receiving touchdown. The most recent pro team he played for was the Arizona Cardinals in the NFL, where he was with them during the 2022 preseason. The other receiver I want to focus on for the Battlehawks is Jamarcus Bradley. Bradley spent his time at Louisiana, where in his college career he racked up 160 receptions for 2,359 yards, averaging nearly 15 yards a reception and 23 touchdowns through the air. In his last year at Louisiana in 2019, he had 906 receiving yards and 10 total receiving touchdowns. In the 2020 NFL Draft, Bradley would go undrafted, but would sign with the Cleveland Browns. In his NFL career, he would spend some time with the Cleveland Browns, where he would have 9 receptions for 124 yards. He most recently has been on the practice squad for the Pittsburgh Steelers. The other receivers on the team include Darius Shepard, Dante Dye, and Austin Perel. Next, with the Seattle Sea Dragons, I'm going to be talking about FCS Albany standout, Juwan Green. Juwan Green was an All-American on the FCS level in 2019, where in that season he recorded 83 receptions for 1,386 yards, 17 touchdowns through the air, and 17 yards per reception. In his career, he had 1,815 receiving yards and 21 receiving touchdowns through the air. In 2020, he went undrafted, and in his pro football career, he spent some time with the Falcons, the Lions, and most recently, the Tennessee Titans. Other receivers for Seattle include Kevin Shaw, Jacor Pearson, Damian Willis, Rashard Davis, Tavian Cunningham, and Jalen Redd. On to the final team in today's video, it is the Vegas Vipers, and they probably have the most notable receiver in the entire league, in Martavis Bryant. Martavis Bryant played his college career at Clemson, where he had 61 career receptions for 1,354 yards, 22 yards per reception, and 13 touchdowns. He had a big 2013 campaign as a junior with 828 receiving yards, averaging nearly 20 yards a reception, and 7 touchdowns through the air. He was a 4th round overall draft pick in the 2014 NFL Draft by the Steelers. In his time in Pittsburgh, Martavis Bryant would play in 36 games and starting in 16 of them. He would have 1,917 career receiving yards as a Steeler on 126 receptions and 17 total touchdowns through the air. Now that sounds promising, however Martavis Bryant would be suspended by the NFL a couple times, even one where he missed an entire season in 2016. He was then traded to the Raiders for the 2018 season, where he appeared in 8 games, starting in 2 of them, recording 19 receptions for 266 yards and no touchdowns, before going down with injury and getting suspended by the NFL again. That was the last time he's been in the NFL, which was all the way back in 2018 with the Raiders. Since then, he has played in the CFL with Toronto and Edmonton, and even the fan-controlled football league. Other receivers for the Vipers include Jeff Badette, Isaiah Macklin, Matthew Sexton, DeAndre Torrey, and Saeed Blacknell. Well guys, if you made this far in the video, drop someone down in the comment section below. Who do you think is going to be the best XFL receiver in 2023? Also, if you want to see previous XFL videos I've made, I'll drop all those video links down in the description below. And before you head out, remember to smash that like button, turn on those post notifications, and subscribe if you haven't already. B. Kelly out.